Hey guys, how's it going? Matt from Foulball Productions here. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. I hope you are doing well. I am not. Things are crazy in this country right now. Everything seems to just be a constant full orchestra of just nonsense and noise and insanity all the time. And I wanted to stop really badly, but it won't, or at least it hasn't yet. So I am here. Unfortunately, Lindsay could not join me this evening or this week. Could not join me this week because she's moving, because her family is getting the hell out of Dodge, doing their Cal exit, booking it out of Napa and heading to Boise, Idaho. You must really hate California. Just want to go to Boise. I understand. I live here. I am concerned. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds, guys. I'm not sure. But anyway, flying solo tonight. Just me. So I'm going to try a different format, see how it works, see how it goes, see if you guys like it. Let me know what you think. The video if you dug it, subscribe to the channel if you already have it. There's a bunch of people who have subscribed this week, and it means a lot. Thank you very much. Always happy to see that. Feels great. Every time I get a new subscriber notification, it makes my day. So thank you so much for those of you who have. It means the world, and I hope you're enjoying the content. I'm going to keep trying to grow and develop new stuff. I mean, you can always count on me talking about The Expanse, because that's not stopping. I got a lot more episodes to do. Might double up on tonight's stream later, because I got like 40 episodes to cover or something by December 16th. So I really gotta get hustling, gotta get moving, gotta finish all season 2, season 3, and season 4 before season 5 comes out. I have put a lot on my plate, a whole lot. Does anyone else feel like streaming services fucking suck? Am I the only one who just like every single time I turn on any of them, it just feels like a chore? I swear to God, it just feels like work every single time I turn on a streaming service, whether it's Netflix or Amazon, any of them. If I don't immediately find something, I honestly lose like the interest. Like I get tired. I honestly get tired. I mean, like, I can't find anything to watch. Honestly, like, it feels like I have a job. You know what I mean? It feels like I'm like, oh God, like I gotta clean my room. That's what it feels like to go try to find something to watch for the evening. And I don't know. I don't know how you guys can do it. Some of the YouTubers I watch, I mean, the way they can watch things and they can get glee out of terrible programming. I can't. I'm just like, oh, like it burns. It burns to watch bad stuff. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So I try not to. I'll be adventurous. I'll try new things. You know what I mean? I'm hesitant to try anything new because it's like if there isn't something overtly political, I'm like looking for it, right? I'm like, where did they hide it? Where is it coming from? It's everything. It's every goddamn thing. Like it's every single piece of new fiction that comes out. It's uncanny. It's uncanny. I watched not Game Over or Game On, whatever the Netflix series is about video games. And it was like, I don't know if this is me being paranoid, but it was like it just felt like a big part of it that there was like someone trans in it and there was someone gay in it. And it's like, I don't care. I don't care if it did it, but it does feel like it needs to be literally every single thing. Like you can't have one piece of content that doesn't have that representation. And it's like, that's fucking insane. Like, that's crazy. Like if it's germane to the story, that's fine. And it was like one of the guys like worked for EA and the trans woman worked like, I forgot what it was, but it was something very fundamental. So obviously it isn't germane to the story, but I couldn't help notice that it was on Netflix. I couldn't help but like see that and just be like, it's got to be on every single property they put out, everything. It's like there's like a gay minister of propaganda, you know, like they scan every single piece of fiction. Like, whoa, slow down, hold on. There's not enough gay here. We got to make sure there's some gay. It's like, does it always have to be gay all the time? Like, I know gay people, but it's like, it's not. It just, I don't know. It just seems like a little much. Am I crazy? Is this a bananas opinion to have? I don't know. To me, it seems like kind of a lot, and it seems like it's in every single piece of like new stuff that comes out. And if it isn't that, it's some other kind of like representation. Like, and here's the problem. Okay, here's the problem with representation. Right? People love to, like, the people who push this type of stuff, they love to hear people criticize it because it gives them a chance to sound off, right? Like, I'm sure if you disagree with me, you're doing right this second. The thing about it is it's disingenuous. It's very disingenuous. It's disingenuous for two reasons. One, I don't believe you need to see yourself in media to connect with it. I find that kind of racist, actually. And like, I guess the counter argument to that is like, well, you're so used to seeing yourself. It's like, yeah, but the first art form I ever really fell in love with was hip hop music. And I don't feel myself represented there like physically, but it didn't matter. That was actually what was interesting about it, was I wasn't represented by it. So it was like, how fascinating is this art form made by these people that I have so much in common with, but we come from such different worlds. And I really identify with their point of view on the world and the things that they're saying. This is interesting to me. This is fascinating. I never felt like, oh, I don't get this because I'm white and they're black, so there's no way for me to identify with this. I never felt that. Well, not say never. I didn't feel that way. I felt that way until I got into it. And then once I got into it, I was like, oh, these guys are like me. They like got the same values. This is cool as hell. Like, I love this. You know, it was like fun, right? So that's the argument that they'll make, is that like, you can't enjoy these things unless you see yourself in it. And I think that that's fundamentally untrue and super fucking dangerous. I think that's racist as fuck. Like, what does that say about me then? If that's how you see the world, and that means that I need to see white men and things to feel. Now, what the fuck are you saying? First of all, don't speak for me. Secondly, what kind of a psychopath looks at the world like that? Like, they can only identify, they can only see the humanity in people that look and are exactly like them. That's a crazy worldview. That's a really dangerous, narrow-minded, small worldview that scares me. Because here's the second reason why all this shit's disingenuous, is it never just comes with just the representation, right? It's not just, well, we just want a black guy in the thing. Who the fuck would have a problem with that? Nobody, except for like crazy hardcore racists that are such a minutia of the population, such a small part of the population that they don't even count. They don't even count. They're not there, and they certainly don't have a vote in what gets made. So who gives a shit? Anyway, it's like, it's not just the representation, it's the politics that come with it. If it was just that, it was like, yeah, you wouldn't notice. You wouldn't care. Just like you didn't care in the 90s when it was Xena Warrior Princess. No one gave a shit. People loved that show. Had a huge following season after season. No one cared when it was Aliens, Lieutenant Ripley and Aliens. No one cared when it was Wesley Snipes and Blade. No one gave a shit. We didn't care. You know why? Because it didn't come with ham-fisted political messaging on top of it. Right? It didn't also come with you and your agenda. It was just the person and their story. And that is interesting. I brought up this example a few times, and I think it's super relevant, is A League of Their Own. Great feminist movie. Great feminist movie. And you will very rarely hear me say the word great and feminist in the same sentence. But hey, Lukey. That was Luke's tail. He likes to make cameos. I don't know, but he's camera shy. He likes to just let you know he's there, but then he flitters off. Every time I pick him up, he fights. Here he comes. You wanna say hi to the people? Fuzzy? Not making it up. Fuzzy face. Great feminist movie. Because what it does is it introduces you to these characters and their circumstances. It doesn't comment on them. It just shows them to you. And they are definitely like gender roles in a society 70 years ago, 80 years ago, whatever it was, the World War II. And yeah, they're like, it's unfair. You're like, oh, that kind of sucks. Like, it's just, you see like this society, and even around these women who have these gender roles thrust upon them, you see there are men around them too, who also like have, who like are empathetic. Like they don't want that, but they are just part of society as well. You know, like they're not the patriarchy, like forcing these women like, Marla Hooch, like Marla Hooch's dad is just like, you know, she's not really like a girl that fits into these molds, but I love her and she's my daughter and I want her to do well. And it's like, yeah, that's a guy, that's a good dad, that's a good guy. And it's also like him dealing with the same like struggle that is put out there, right? That everyone talks about being this huge problem now. And the other thing it does really well is it continually shows these situations and people saying things about it, but it doesn't linger on it. It doesn't dwell on it. And it doesn't give the heroes and the protagonists like their big like moment where they're going to tell you. It's not, none of that. You just see them do the things like successfully. And that is the evidence that the sentiments and the old archaic kind of worldviews are just that, are out of date, are archaic. You didn't need like some big powerful moment where all the men it's like that type of stuff is so pathetic. This is so articulate and interesting and intelligent. And I think it works so much better because at the end I found myself being like, fuck, that's fucked up what they had to go through. That's fucked up the way the world used to be. Like that's not, you know, that's not right. That's, you know, you feel empathy for their point of view, right? Because I was able to come to the conclusion myself. You know, it's like anything else. It's like buying a product, right? If someone says buy it, you're just like, no. But if you are given details or information or something like that, and you're allowed to come to the conclusion yourself that you'd like to buy it, then I find you're much more likely to want that product because it feels like it's your decision and no one else is making it for you. You know, that's a big part of society. That's a big part of individually humanity, and definitely Americans. We don't like being told what to do. Nobody. Even you crazy people on these fringe side of this this political spectrum, you don't like it either. That's your whole point is like freedom under oppression, blah, blah, blah. So you don't like it either. No one likes being told what to do. It's not a good feeling. So I don't know why you feel that the best way to get your political messages out there is to yell them at people really loud and try to get them to submit to them. It's not an effective way of getting anything across. And all it really does is alienate more people and create more enemies and make you less effective overall. So it's not even, it's just, it's like, don't even take my advice because it's like my point of view. It's like, if you care about your side, then do it a better way because it's not coming across well. It's not coming across well at all. You know, it's just wasted energy, you know? And it just keeps coming harder and faster from all these different media sources. I mean, you see it in, you know, it happened just recently in The Boys season 2. If you guys, if you have the stomach for it, if you could sit through, you don't have to sit through all of it, but EFAP, Every Frame of Pause, the guy Mahler and a bunch of other, you know, prominent YouTubers, they dissected pretty much the entire season of The Boys season 2 on Saturday. This past Saturday, October 17th, I think. It was remarkable. It was utterly remarkable. I was so impressed with, like, they made me see so many things I didn't even notice. And I was like, because I remember watching it and just being like off, like uneasy, mostly because of like what Eric Kripke said to launch the season, where he says, you know, he did some stupid interview where he pandered to the guy and said that, you know, the most dangerous guy is the white guy standing next to you. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, go fuck yourself completely, you jerk off. You know what I mean? Like, I'm supposed to, what, now buy your product, you asshole? Like, like, what? It's just, it's amazing how sensitive people can be to like pejorative generalizations and then yet go and do that exact same thing and then be like confused when people aren't like buying their garbage. It's like, how does this, like, how can you not connect these dots? Right or wrong, it doesn't matter. No one wants to be spoken to like that. So how could you possibly expect that to work? Like, it's just so douchey. So he did that. He said that. And so like that kind of tainted my experience. And quite frankly, I didn't even really think The Boys season 1 was that great. I thought there was some interesting swings and some interesting stuff, but I don't know. It just, a lot of it kind of felt like people liked it, and that's fine. I didn't love it. I thought it was okay. I thought it ended too abruptly. There were things about it I was just like, meh. But season 2, I didn't even really give a full chance. I couldn't really do it. I was like, I just don't, I feel like I'm just going to sit here for whatever it is, 8-10 episodes and just get some fucking ham-fisted lecture. I mean, he said it. He said the whole thing, their villain was about Trump, which turned out the villain was a Nazi. Do you believe this? It's like, do you think people are this stupid and juvenile? Like, do you honestly believe that would sway anyone? Who would be like, oh my God, I'm the Nazi. Oh, I didn't see it this way. Thank you, Hollywood. Like, what are you talking about? All you're doing is condescending and patronizing. And it's like, really? Because they don't see it your way, your psychotic way, your Hollywood Mercedes Marxist way that doesn't add up at all, because it doesn't, your career can't exist in an environment like that, in an economic future that you're trying to form, you douchebag. It's like you don't exist in your own model of the world. And then you just like, it's like, and you also like, you're so successful and wealthy. It's like, who are you to fucking tell me anything about like any of this stuff? It's like, dude, if you care, then you know what? Take all the money you made from The Boys and dedicate it to some charity. Just take it all. Be like, I won't take another dime. I'm already rich. I'm part of the problem. And here's a big fat check, whatever organization. But you don't. You don't. You go on Twitter, you go on Instagram, you go on fucking whatever platform, and you just belittle anyone who doesn't think exactly like you. Well, I'm sure that'll work. Because I noticed all the incels on the internet who constantly attack women and attack women's groups, I see what happens next is they get flooded with pussy. That's how that works. You go out and you attack and insult an entire group of people, and then they come to you and want you now. That's how it works. Eric Kripke, you dickhead. Like, who like this is like 101. This is like baseline being a human being. It's like the most fundamental way to communicate. And it's like, you guys are shocked that the country doesn't see it your way. It's like, are you fucking alive? Like, do you have a brain that functions outside of like the matrix you're plugged into? Like, does it work? Because if it does, well, I'd say you're not using it like at all. Like in any way constructive, that's for sure. You're just going to yell the things that people that you already agree with are going to be like, yeah, right on. Even though I live here. You guys are not an inclusive group of people. Like, Hollywood could be the most exclusive, elitist group on earth. And you act like it's all about being nice and allowing people in. And it's like, no, it isn't. This place is designed to keep people out. It is intentionally set up with so many moats and barriers and barricades to keep out everyone. You like it being in the center of this palace. Inclusivity? What the fuck do you even know about that term? You can't imagine it. And that's why you guys are so smug. Because you hurdled your way in somehow. Whatever way. I'm not going to speculate on how. But you did. And you love it. You love the smell of your own farts from inside the palace. And now you're going to lecture everyone else on inclusion. Who's excluding anyone? It's you, asshole. You're the one with the golden keys telling everyone else that they should let people in and accept. It's like, what? Explain walk me through this. In fact, don't, because it'll be more bullshit. Makes me fucking laugh. Makes me fucking laugh. I wish it made me laugh more. I wish it made me laugh more. A lot of times it's just upsetting. It's just upsetting. You know, I'd love to be cool and above it. I'm not. It sucks. I hate this. I hate all this anger and division and like the slurry of propaganda and garbage that's out there. It sucks. It's not good. And also, like, look, man, I came out here because I like film and entertainment. I love it. It's the thing I love. I love doing it. I love talking about it. I love watching it. But it's like you took that from me. It's gone now. I can only watch the stuff that's like old or something that's new, which I recommend highly, highly. This is not going to get a lot of press. It's not going to be a successful movie by the critics because it's pro-America. So they're not going to, they can't run with this and then go to these like parties with their friends that they're all doing, by the way. I guarantee you everyone in Beverly Hills and the Hollywood Hills, they're not quarantining in place. They're not doing groups of 5 or less. I know this. I know this in my heart. I know this firsthand. Okay. I've worked a few parties in the Hollywood elite over the past few months with recognizable names and faces, not doing any quarantining. None. All drinking and partying, no mask, no social distancing while they're lecturing the entire country, the whole world. That aside. Shit, I lost my point. Where was I? Oh, yes. Right. All these people who are so virtuous and good and better than me and better than you, quite frankly. And they know it because they're rich and famous. And that makes them good. Better than you for sure. You scrub. Now listen to me and think what I think and vote. Vote. Really? Vote. You're going to encourage people to vote if they go out and vote fucking Trump? Really? Really? I guarantee if you guys thought it would sway even one Trump voter, you wouldn't say a goddamn word. Anyway, my little Hollywood. This movie came out on Netflix recently, and it stars, Clint Eastwood's son? Is it Scott Eastwood? Is that his name? Is Scott Clinton Reeves? Why would you not go with Eastwood, dude? Your dad is Clint fucking Eastwood. Why would you not take his name? And you look just like him. Anyway, he and Orlando Bloom star in this movie called The Outpost on Netflix. It was amazing. I saw it on Netflix. It was in the top 10 for like a day and then it was gone. Guys, see it. It was so fucking good. The acting was so incredible. And I've kind of heard people malign Scott Eastwood. And I'd never really seen anything he did so I didn't really have an opinion one way or the other, but it wouldn't shock me. I mean, it doesn't always come down through the lineage and some, who knows, whatever. For whatever reason, I heard mixed things about his acting abilities. Well, not in this. In this, he was outstanding. Actually, even talking about it is going to make me want to watch it again. But it's a true story about a fire base in Afghanistan that was in the bottom of like this valley, right? Just mountains on all sides, like just a completely indefensible position. You basically and then the bottom is just this fire base. And they didn't have like a whole lot of armament. They had some mortars and some machine guns. As far as I recall, that was pretty much all they had to just defend like constant attack from the Taliban in every area. It's just like nuts, right? So it kind of just keeps encroaching in and encroaching in and encroaching in. And you start hearing like more and more talk about a Taliban raid and this, that, and the other. And they're kind of cycling through commanders of this base, right? And then the word comes, they're going to close it. Then they're not, this, that, and the other. Well, it's a true story. And in the end, 2 soldiers at the same battle were awarded medals of honor, which is insane. That's like, there's only been like, I think less than 4,000 in the history of the military. And there's 2 in the same battle. It was fucking incredible. It was so good. It's one of those movies where you're like in the tube the whole way and you come out like, wow, that was an amazing movie. Like you're not aware you're watching a movie. You're just in the movie. And then you come out like, wow. It was so good. And like I said, it'll probably just get washed away because Hollywood, like they can't support this stuff because it's too red America. It's too pro military. You know what I mean? It's like too celebrating like the values that people in like Texas have. You know what I mean? These like people out here can't do that. They probably could if they were like, you'll see it on Memorial Day. I'll see people who are just like screaming liberals posting stuff on like Memorial Day or like Veterans Day. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, Jesus, that's a pretty transparent virtue signal there. Like, I know you don't give a shit. And if you do, boy, oh boy, you've never made a sound about it up until right this second. But but it's just one of those movies that you should just totally see. Just cut right through all the anyone else's chatter about it and just watch it. That's what I did. I didn't wait. You know, I was gonna like put it off and I just was fuck it. Just cut right through. It was outstanding movie. Outstanding movie. Like, Orlando Bloom's in it. He's really good. Was he in Black Hawk Down? Was that Orlando Bloom? Yeah, he was. Right. I think he gets killed in it. Well, it's interesting. Like, he has like it's like a different. It's almost like that same character. Like, you check in with him like 20 years later when he's like a much more hardened, like tougher military leader. It's pretty cool. I think he's a captain in the movie, and he like, you know, it's like the burden of command, but he's a good leader. You know, it's and Scott Eastwood in it. God damn it, he's a sergeant. I think a staff sergeant maybe. His leadership is so strong, and the way the way his movements were, you could tell that guy worked so hard on this role. And it's one of those movies that could just slip on through. Hey buddy, Lucas. Luke did it again. Did a little flyby. I mean, I don't know if he wants attention or not. I'd give it to him, but he won't stick around. He just wants to let you all know that he's here. Yeah, I mean, it's weird too, because it's like there's nothing coming out, right? I mean, how many movies came out this year? Probably 30% of what normally do. And you know, it's definitely an award-worthy performance, at least nomination. And it's one of those movies that, like, before the country was like every single thing you said, thought, or did had to serve some political side. It's a type of movie that would have just won, would have just been, you know, not won, but would have been in the conversation because there was an excellent amount of care that went into it. It's objectively an outstanding movie. The one takes are immense. They're so well used because they ratchet up the tension so well. Instead of it being something where, you know, you're what's it called? Like, you know, you're like, ooh, look at this one shot we made. Isn't it amazing how we didn't cut? Ooh, look, all the extras are at the same. Oh, ooh. It's like this and the other. This is like using a filmmaking technique to enhance the film instead of, you know, showing off for everybody. And it does it incredibly well. It just, you're on like the edge of your seat, like watching this all go down. I mean, and it's so tense and scary and amazing. It was amazing. Such a great movie. Can't recommend it more. The Outpost on Netflix. 100% recommendation from Maddie over here. Foulball Productions there. Did you guys happen to see Bill Burr's SNL last week? That was pretty goddamn funny. I gotta say, I was really impressed with how funny it was. I didn't know SNL could be funny. I swear to God, I had no idea. I haven't laughed at anything SNL's done since like the 90s. I don't know. It's not my style of humor. You know, a lot of people come out of there that people rave about and love. I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, I think it's, I don't know. It's pretty, it's not a great look to criticize comedy. Cause whenever I like there's people I enjoy and they criticize comedy that I like. And I don't know, it just kind of makes you look like a dick sometimes. Like, even, you know what I mean? You're just like, hey, wait. And then it's just like, you know, it's not always a great, so I'm not going to, like, you know, get into it too much. You know, whatever you find funny is what you find funny. But Bill Burr on SNL, man, it was great. He came out, like, his monologue, he came out swinging, which I really liked. You know, he's still towing the company line to a degree, but he definitely took some shots, some well-needed shots on like white women, which was great because I've been on these fucking bitches for a long time. God, God, women out here in LA, the white girls they're out of control. They're out of control. They're just, it's just like you're meeting with like the minister of feminist propaganda, every single one of them. Like they're not fun. None of them are fun. They just want to lecture you and tell you how to think. And if you don't think the way they do, it's like they freeze you out of their whole world. And so it was very nice to see Burr taking a shot at them. That was great, you know. And I guess I didn't see it, but apparently on Instagram or on Twitter, whatever, some stupid social media site, they kind of took the bait and went after him, which is funny. That's good. I think that's good. They should, you know, they like white bitches need they need their licks. Enough with these girls throwing themselves in with minorities and with like, you know, real victims in this society. It's like, yeah, me too. It's like, hold on, wait a second. I could argue you're at the top of this society. Like, what are you saying? You know, like I always felt like in high school, I always felt like girls were like above, you know what I mean? Like they kind of like ran like the social scene. It was like, if girls liked you, then you were cool. If they didn't, then you weren't. Like the popular girls could like anoint girls. Like it was like, oh, they would like raise up some average normie chick into the level of popular. It was like, since when are women powerless? I always feel like they're more powerful. Like if, you know what I mean? If you're out with like a hot girl or a popular girl, like when you're young, like in high school, you're out with kind of everybody, man. No one, you're like toxic, you know, radioactive. No one wants to stay near you. So I don't, this whole notion that women are powerless is fucking crazy. You know, get into that further if I wanted to, but I don't. I'm done with that point. Burr took some shots at them. I thought it was funny. It was good. It was good. And then he did a really good sketch that I thought it was vintage Burr. It was like, oh yeah, like this guy, right? Like Burr, of course. He had a mobster came back from jail, like 20 years of being in jail. And he's like, you know, thanks for welcoming me back. But I got to say, guys, I'm pretty disappointed with the way things are going. You know, I look around this block that we used to run it. I see it's run by all these Mexicans. And everyone's just like, whoa, hey, like what happened? He's like, I mean, you know, you kind of stuck the landing with Mexicans. He's like, no, the guys out there are Mexican. I didn't say that there was a problem. He's like, yeah, okay. But it was like, you know, a little insensitive to point it out like that. And then like one of the guys is like gender non-conforming and there's like a black chick. He's like, what the fuck? Like it's all like the mob went woke. That's a funny joke. That's a good concept. And the other one I saw that was really funny was the sports show where there was like two black anchors, a black woman and a black guy, and then Burr. And there was some like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like the biggest house fire I've ever seen just flew into like my light. Ugh, it's making me anxious. Luke, get him. That's you, buddy. I think Luke will take care of it. If you hear like a scuffle, that's what that was. But so it's a sports show, right? Like an ESPN style show. And Burr comes in and he's all excited because his team won the big game, you know, and they had like a bet with the other guy. Burr's got a bet with the black male anchor about like a steak dinner if the team lost or whatever, right? Like Tampa and something. And he's all like gloating. He's like, you're gonna welch on the bet, you know, this whole thing. And then the guy's just like, yeah, well, you know, I wasn't really watching the game because there's another tragic shooting of a young African American man. Blah 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 blah. And he goes, gets like all uncomfortable, like, yeah, you know, I mean, I watched the highlights trying to like cover it up and like dancing around like all this stuff, and he's like, well, did you see it? What was the guy's name? And he's like, you know, there's just so many, and that's the problem. Like it's all like trying to be like super on board, just a guy who wants to talk about sports. That was funny. I thought that was good. I couldn't believe SNL was like willing to actually be funny. You know, like they're so tame. Everything they do is so predictable. It's like everything comes out of Hollywood. You know, that's why there's this huge bubble, this huge new like, you know, I don't know what to call it, but like this new entity. It's not even an entity because it's not connected, but it's connected in the sense that it's authentic. And you have all these comedians and YouTubers and just people doing different stuff that's getting huge attention. Huge. I mean, you got like Andrew Schultz blowing up on Instagram doing his videos, and he's hilarious. Dude, I went down the people that follow Andrew Schultz. I was like, holy shit, this is some crazy famous people that follow this, like, you know, comic who's actually saying things, you know, who's actually like really funny, not just like safe funny, like calling it for what it is and put a funny spin on it. And that reminded me of a Simpsons episode where Homer where Homer sees like one stand-up comic and then he's just like, hey, I'm gonna say it like it is, and he just is a jerk because it's like just being honest isn't funny. It just makes you kind of like a jerk off. I was like, I've done that before. But no, and so like him, like Tim Dillon, you know, Rogan, but you know, he's been around, but like these guys, that's just the comedians. And then they got all the YouTubers who are getting like, you know, millions of subscribers and millions of views on their videos. I mean, you look at Mahler's idea. God, that fly is like freaking me out. It's so loud. It's like it looks like it's this big. It isn't, but it feels like a Japanese hornets in my apartment or something. Shit, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I mean, look, what I was bringing up before. I mean, like the idea that EFAP is a thing, right? 10 hours. We're gonna talk for 10 hours about The Last of Us 2 or Star Wars for the 55th time, you know, and they're getting 6,000, 7,000 live viewers live while it's happening. No one watches anything live, you know, and then they're getting all this money from the super chats. And then you see there's hundreds of thousands of views on these videos afterwards, 10-hour streams. This is unheard of. Who would imagine that would be something that people would tune into? But it's because we're tired of the same shit. We're tired. I was I was listening to who was it? Oh crap. Oh yeah, I was listening to Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura today, and they were saying it's like, you know, about interviewing. They were talking to Sean King. No, that's Talcum X. The guy from Hot Ones. What's his name? Sean Evans. They're talking to Sean Evans, and they were saying about how you know, people are like they were complimenting him on how good of an interviewer he is because of how much it seems like he's sincerely curious about the questions he's asking. And they were saying like, yeah, you know, people they see through the bullshit now. Like they're educated. They don't, you know, they don't want just hollow bullshit. So they're looking for something different. I mean, they were saying that's why Evans is so popular, but you could point out that Sean Evans is one of the guys that I'm talking about. I mean, how big is Hot Ones? Hot Ones is huge. I cannot believe when I found that show, I couldn't believe how many millions of views every single episode gets. And they're genuinely enjoyable, even with people that I could give a shit less about. They're fascinating. And so there's this new, like, there's a new searching. People are trying to find new and interesting things. And also things that feel untethered. You know, I say this a lot and I mean it. The audiences now are the most educated ever, whether it comes to comedy or film and television, you know, I guess radio, podcast, just media in general. Most educated ever, because we've never had a time in history ever where we've had this much free access, this much constant access to film and television and podcasts and radio shows and basically like all media ever. It's all at our fingertips. You know, the average person used to watch, you know, if it was a movie a month, it was a lot. You know, they'd flip through the TV, watch some bullshit, watching lots of commercials, you know. But now, I mean, for me, I always have a podcast or something on, like, all the time. And you know, or you know, when I could stomach it, I'd watch like a movie a night or a few episodes of TV a night. You know, now I'm just like rewatching old movies I know I love, so I can just fall asleep pleasantly. But the audiences now are so sharp. They're so savvy and they're funny. You guys read comment sections under podcasts on YouTube? They're hilarious. Like if you read Joe Rogan's, like any one episode on YouTube, read the comment section. It's hilarious. Like it's really, really funny. And like, or if you watch like memes and the internet, like this idea that Hollywood has a monopoly on creativity or funny is ridiculous. And it's been dispelled over and over and over. I mean, you watch YouTubers, they just pop on a mic. They're just sitting in their apartment and they're fucking funny. Look, Gary from Nerdrotic is funny. He's funny. He's funny. Heels versus Baby, he's funny. These guys are funny. They're not as funny as, say, a professional comedian. Like there are guys who are just bow, 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 but they're still entertaining, right? They don't need to be a constant stream of hilarity because that's not their brand. We don't need it. There is, what I'm trying to say is we don't need them. We're done with this. No, that's not true. We're not done with Hollywood. Don't think we are. But there's it's changing. Something's changing, right? The future is not going to be bloated old Hollywood pumping out shit no one buys, right? Because they can't afford it anymore. Definitely not now that like Hollywood's been shut down for a year. They definitely can't afford to not make money anymore. They could afford to virtue signal and not make money, under a great economy with the president that they hate, even though he's the one responsible for all the money in their pockets. But they could never admit that because they'd look bad socially. But now they can't afford it. Now anything they put out has got to be profitable, and it has to be. And you're not going to make money by preaching to your audience. Get woke, go broke. That's the saying, and it says that for a reason. Because people do not want to be proselytized to. And it is really ironic that the people who just have like a disdain for religious people and religion in general just want to preach constantly, right? They're just preaching a different gospel. So they're not above anyone. They just happen to be in the center of pretty land, of pretty glossy, wealthy entertainment land. That's it. I mean, it's really it. If you get to know a lot of these people, I'm not saying they're all shit. They're not. Most of them are really nice. Even the people who preach are really nice. I have people in my immediate life who are the worst to discuss any of this with, and they will belittle your opinion, and they won't listen, and they'll attack. But they're good people. They're just misguided in the way they think and the way they communicate. They're not bad, right? They think they're doing right. There's tweaks of narcissism and all this other stuff in there, and lack of respect, but it still comes like they're still good people. Some of them, not all of them, obviously, but most of them, but it's like, it's just an industry, right? Like it could be vacuum cleaners or sprockets or whatever. It's just an industry full of people, and there's a varying degree of talent, but it's just full. It's just like anything else. It's full of people. And I think I lost my point. I'm trying to regroup. The things that Hollywood had a monopoly on for a long time, the biggest thing was distribution, right? You had to see it on a TV screen or a movie theater screen for it to be seen. You could make a short film or whatever and have like a local screening in your what's it called? Like your local town theater or something like that, rent it out. But, it's not going to get seen. The thing was, it had to come from there. With the advent of the internet, that's no longer true, right? You have distribution. That's huge. That's huge. The other things that they have a monopoly on are talent, right? Don't disrespect that. There's a lot of talent in Hollywood, a lot. It's just not nurtured, really. Not to say it's not nurtured, but it's, I don't know. It's a weird bastardization of like a combination of politics, look, who and then there is that X Factor shit, which is real. I've met people like that. They just have the X Factor. Why? You don't know why. You can't put your finger on it, but that guy's a star. You just know it. You can feel it. You're like, oh, they're going to eat that guy up. He's going to be great. And more times than not, they are. And so there is that, and it does attract stars like moths to a flame. So there's that, right? And then there's the money. Those are the biggest things that Hollywood has. Thing about it is, though, we're seeing more and more that it's not only there. And also, it's not like there are people that are drawn to it that don't want to deal with that, but do want to deal with creating things and making stuff. And I think that can be the future. I don't know. These are just like ramblings of a actor in LA, but I see it. I don't know. I think like you guys see it, like that we're seeking out all this entertainment elsewhere, that we're tired of the noise. I mean, my mom And she's a nice person, and she's definitely not on the like right of the political spectrum at all. But even like I'll bring up certain things like when they race swap characters, even she's like, ugh, even she groans, right? It's like when my mom, who does not like care about this stuff the way I do, you know, she's a school teacher, she doesn't have time for this. When she notices and she's annoyed by it, man, you can tell that like, you can bet that there's a lot more people in the country that are tired of it too. And I'll tell you what, there are people here that are tired of it. We can't speak up. We're not allowed to speak up. We all need to conform. Conformity is huge out here. Huge out here. There's a comedic news reporter guy, this guy, Jonathan Pye. He does, I haven't seen him in a while, but he used to do like these fake news broadcasts. And in between, he would rant about the lack of validity in the news that he was reporting. And it was funny. You could kind of see his like transformation into someone who was actually thinking. And one of the things he said about the left, and this goes for Hollywood, as goes Hollywood, that they're obsessed with diversity in every way except for thought. And I was like, that's exactly right. You nailed it. That's it. Like, it's weird too. Like, they can identify the conformists, like the spiders at the center of the web. They know, they can tell. Like I swear to God, I've seen it in people's eyes where they've judged me because I took time to think about how I felt about something. I watched it happen. It'd be like some issue and I'd be like weighing it. They'd be like, they want you to know exactly how you think. They want you like you gotta be in the matrix, man. You gotta be in the matrix. Thing is, this attracts creatives. Creatives are thoughtful people. Thoughtful people do not want to have their brains, you know, scrambled and rearranged in the way that you want them to exist. They want to explore the way their weird creative brains work. So there's sleepers out here. There are sleeper like thinkers. You know what I mean? Intellectuals, people who are nonconformist, but being a nonconformist in this town is really risky because it blackballs you, blacklists you. Because it's not fashionable. It's not fashionable to think for yourself in this town. It isn't. It really isn't. It turns people off. You got to just, you know, regurgitate this stuff. I remember I was out to dinner with a group trivia thing with a couple of actors and some people that I knew. And I knew that like a few of the people were more like me. We're not really like into the whole cult thing. And a few of them were more into the cult. And the cultist kept trying to bring up the Kavanaugh thing with Trump. And I wasn't taking the bait. I was like, I don't want to have this conversation. And I remember the look. He'd be like, "Oh, this whole thing with Trump," like it was weighing on his shoulders. Like if he didn't fix this situation, then the fate of the universe would fall into kilter. You know, this guy saving the planet single-handedly by being upset about something Trump related. That's how they all feel, by the way. They think if they're upset about it, somehow that's going to fix the problem. Just take care of your own shit. And he kept giving me the bait. He kept throwing me, and I just didn't take it. And it was like, I know he clocked that. I know that's like, even not saying anything is identification of you not being one of the cult. It's a fucking weird world out here, kids. It's a weird, weird world. But I believe in the future, and I think we have a chance here, or a chance or to create something new, to identify the new thing. I think the new thing is out there, you know, and I think we all, if we believe in this, need to play our part in cultivating it, because this is some stubborn people, man. You've seen them go for 4 years. 4 years of no budging on the way they think. Not at all. Not one little iota. Well, not all of them, but the core. The center, haven't heard a blip of self-analysis, respect for other thinking. I haven't seen any evidence of it. 4 years, they haven't changed. They're not going to change. And if we want change, got to be the change you want to see in the world. Have to, because what else are we going to do? Just keep taking on the chin and coming online and bitching about it? How long is that going to stay interesting for? It's not interesting for me. That's not true. It's interesting for me, but it's interesting for me in the way that it's like, it's nice to know there's others like me out there who see this and don't like it and feel the pain of it. Like that's my biggest thing coming to YouTube. It's like, oh, thank God. Like, I'm not the only one. So I think that's step one, right? Realizing you're not alone, realizing that there's more out there for us. And you know what? If we believe in it, I think we can foster a new era. I believe so. I hope so. I hope so, because I don't want to go. I don't want to stop. I definitely didn't get into this to make propaganda, especially not propaganda I don't agree with. That's the least interesting thing I could imagine. And I don't like propaganda I do agree with. I hate that. That's like that comedian, Jim Jeffries. It's like, I used to think he was hilarious, and then he just started sounding off. And it was stuff I agree with, but I was like, I'm not going to laugh at that. That's not funny. It's just like, oh, we agree. Great. Ha ha. What's funny about that? Like, it all gets like that clapter. That's what they call it. Oh, I agree. Ha 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 ha. We're all smart. So if you agree with me, just kidding. I don't know. I think there's room. I think there's room for new shit. Look how hungry we are for fresh content, or even just going back to the old stuff. I mean, you look at the movies that in the theaters that sold out, right? This year, it was all like old stuff. It was all like Indiana Jones and Empire Strikes Back. It was the things we like. We don't want their new garbage because we know what it is. It's propaganda with a slick outer wrapping, but at its core, it's hollow. It's empty. It's this state talking. We don't want to hear it. Shut up. Stop. We're not stupid. The audiences are not dumb. It's such a mistake to treat the audiences like they're stupid. They're not, and they're definitely not this time in history. Most educated audiences in history. Remember that. It's true. You are. I am. We are the most educated audiences in history. We've had a year to just sit inside and watch things. We're smart. We can see through your bullshit. We know when we're being preached to. We can sense it. It's there. We know. Some more than others, but we'll eventually come around, man. Who likes Star Wars anymore? Who's talking about it? Who's talking about, I don't know if this is an example, but yeah, not really. But I was going to say Game of Thrones. That's not really, it's not a true victim of gender politics or, political messaging or whatever. It's just, that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing. But there are lots of great videos out there on the subject, and that was my true gateway into YouTube and YouTubers was the downfall of Game of Thrones. If you haven't checked out the Critical Drinkers channel, he is on fire right now. He's at like 600,000 subscribers, I think. He's got great videos detailing, chronicling like step by step the downfall of that final season. And it's really cathartic. If you haven't had that moment yet, where you can collectively just look on that dumpster fire and just understand that it's not just you, that there is something corrupted in the soul of this whole thing. For me, that was huge. It was very therapeutic. Like, I needed that. I really needed that. And people might think that that's an exaggeration. Look, man, I love that show. And I watched those seasons 5 times. 5 times. You know how many fucking hours of TV that is? That's a lot. That's a lot of time to live in my brain and think about this stuff and absorb it, right? Only to see it just like a fart just dissipate. So me being upset about it is, completely righteous and valid. Anyway, all right, guys, that's going to do it for me. That was my first solo live stream that's not Expanse related. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you liked my little Hollywood rants and such. Please press like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below with your thoughts. Truly, because I'm seeing more and more that we are a network. We are a community. It isn't a glossy window with, entertainment being projected out of. The future is interactive. The future is collective. I see it. We're doing it. I enjoy listening to, like Friday Night Tights, the super chat square up that Gary does. It's other people's super chats. I love it. I watch his member streams. It's like people I've never heard of, never seen before. I like them. They're smart. They're sharp. It's a good, like we are, I don't know. We're realizing that like this tool we have, this internet, this is a way to really connect, you know, is a really way to like defy powers that, you know, have ill intent or at least misguided. Let's say at the very least misguided intent. Well, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I hope to see you soon on another stream. Toodaloo.